Yes. It's the pregame show. It's Joe Spadoni. It's 95.7 The Game. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Warriors, 104. Phoenix Suns, 108. Oh, hi, Sam Lubman. No, come in here. Fix my camera real quick. We're on Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Like and subscribe, stream us. We'll be on here all day long. I'm becoming the very thing I swore to destroy. Shout out Obi-Wan, the guy that always gets in the other hosts here to fix their camera. I don't even know how. So thank you, Sam Lubman, for fixing that. That's good to know. He'll show me that at the break. Can you see my beautiful face now? We'll see. We can. There we go. Not very beautiful. But 5:01 a.m. is the best I could do. So welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's fun to see some basketball last night, right? Didn't you miss it? Come on. I know we got football, the Niners. Oh, we're all overreacting for a loss. Oh my goodness, Brock Purdy, is he actually Jimmy Garoppolo? Oh my God, the sky's falling, 2 losses in a row. Oh, Cincinnati's coming up. It's all good. It's nice to see Stephen Curry, the one constant in our lives, although not a very good 3-point shooting night from Steph, although he finished with 27 points overall. Not a great shooting night overall, really, from both teams. Specifically the Warriors, 35% from the field, 23.3 from beyond the arc. And yet, they still had an opportunity to pull it out late. So 888-957-9570. I want to hear your takeaways from last night's game as the Warriors start off the season 0-1. They get back in action on Friday against the Kangs. Ooh, that'll be fun. That will be fun. A lot of hard feelings there. Hell, hard feelings from the preseason when Curry hit a game winner against them. So cannot wait for that. Can't wait for all these matches. We got Wembanyama tonight. We got all... Oh, by the way, speaking of all sports, we got a World Series matchup, folks. Arizona Diamondbacks v. Texas Rangers. Whew! It's going to be a ratings bonanza. Can't wait for that one. I kid. Corbin Carroll, he's fun. Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen. They got some studs over in Arizona. Ketel Marte, Christian Walker versus Bruce Bochy and co. Corey Seager, our guy, Marcus Simeon, local kid, amongst others. So the stage is set there. And will Bruce Bochy get another one? It's pretty incredible. They're the favorites right now. Hey, it's on the TV. Minus 185 to win the World Series. Plus 155 for the D-backs. So the stage is set there. Is the stage set for Chris Paul as a Golden State Warrior? Did it take a few minutes, Warriors fans, watching that game? Was it the intro? Was it the CP3 chance when he had a few drives to the hoop on Eubanks and co. and Nurkic and co.? Drew Eubanks. Oh, my God. God love him. Early on there. And Stan Van Gundy, I was watching on the television feed as well as our 95.7 feed. The great Tim Roy. Awesome to hear his voice again. And again, we are your home for Golden State Warriors basketball all season long, right here, 95.7 The Game. You don't want to go anywhere else. We got the best coverage, pre, post, throughout the season, all right here on 95.7 The Game. And download that Odyssey app. And you can find all those Warriors games for free here in the Bay. 888-957-9570. That's the number to call or text the Comcast Business text line. Takeaways from last night's game, positives, the negatives. I want to hear from all of you. And again, good morning to all of you on the YouTube chat. Nicole Diaz, Hamza, YP, Dublin Marge, F Camp. Appreciate you guys chiming in at this hour of the day. The first one I see, Sam, the first one I see. We might have to bench Klay and start Moody. One game, that's all it took, guys. That's all it took. Oh, my God. YP, yeah, at least the Lakers lost too. I get it. It's one game, right? Although, if the Warriors had won last night, we would all be rubbing it in their faces. We would be. Anthony Davis, 0 points in the second half. Yikes. Lakers, once again, relying on a 38-year-old man.
Got to bench him for Austin Reeves now at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, Reeves didn't have his best game. Didn't have his best game. You know, he was finding ways to impact in other ways outside of scoring when the ball wasn't hitting. But it felt like, you know, watching that game prior to the Warriors one, it felt like I was watching the exact same thing that went down in the Western Conference Finals. They'd make these runs. They cut it within 3 in the fourth quarter. LeBron leaves. Team falls apart. Stop me if you heard that before. The team falls apart when LeBron's not on the floor. It's basically his entire career outside of the Heat. I mean, can we get the guy who's 30 and Anthony Davis to carry the team? 38-year-old man, my goodness. But we'll react to that more another time. God, the Lakers and Warriors don't play until the end of January? That stinks. Well, maybe they'll meet up in the in-season tournament. There's possibility. I think that would be early December, which would be pretty freaking cool. But that's a ways away. We're reacting right now to the Suns beating the Golden State Warriors. A lot of storylines last night. You know, Kevin Durant coming back. They had that little video tribute. Thought it could have been a little better. Felt a little like, I mean, this guy was one of the greatest players in the history of the franchise. 2 times final MVP. Guy was a baller. Not a statue guy, but, you know, retire the jersey guy, absolutely. Having a Kevin Durant day, whatever you got to do. This guy was special, and he meant a lot. Guy gave his Achilles for the team. And here's KD after the game talking about the video tribute.
A lot of good moments in the video. He was able to relive some of those memories real quick. But it was good to come in here and get the season started off right with a W.
Typical KD. You know who he is. He's Kevin Durant. But it was good to see KD. I mean, just as a competitor, too. Just to see him play. And no, the explosion isn't there like it once was. The guy's old. Like, that's also what I came away with this. And it was funny because the guy that didn't look old was obviously the youngest one of everyone on the court there was Devin Booker, who was just, when that stroke's going, it's unbelievable. And his three-point shot wasn't even there. 3 of 8, 13 of 21 overall. He had the game high 32 points, +5, ±. But he was everywhere. He was running point. He had 8 assists. He was the best player on the court last night, Devin Booker. And he was the difference ultimately. When he had that dime to Nurkic late, go up 4, and that was basically the game with 10 seconds left. So 888-957-9570. Some of your takeaways from last night. Moses Moody was a positive. I know it was, I don't know if it was tongue-in-cheek from the YouTube chat, benching Klay already for Moody, but I liked what I saw from him. And I'm going to be very careful not to overreact to game ones. Because a few years back, I think Nemanja Bjelica had an amazing game 1 against the Lakers. And then we didn't hear from him damn near the rest of the season. Until the playoffs, until what? The last game, game 6 against the Boston Celtics, right? So I'm not going to overreact too much, but it's not like Moody's a free agent. So this is a huge and positive step going forward for him because he did look, dare I say, shades. I'm not comparing him to him because it's not fair, but Iguodala-esque, right? Coming off the bench, hitting the 3, playing good defense, scrappy. Him and GP2, those guys were hounding on defense. Hounding guys. And it's the hustle plays that turn into fast breaks, turn into quick points for you. And that's what allowed the Warriors to get back into the game, take the lead. And it was back and forth. And the Suns ultimately, they go on that huge run to start the fourth quarter. And they answer every other run for the Golden State had to try to get back into that game. Eric Gordon with some big shots. Obviously, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Nurkic. I like Nurkic, by the way, over Ayton. It's early, but from what I saw, again, game 1, not going to overreact. I like what I saw from Nurkic. Good morning on the Comcast Business Text line, 718. Morning, Spadoni. Kuminga's skill set improvement is better than Moody's, but Moody's decision-making is by far better and more impactful which is why he fits more and Steve will play him more. Year 3 Moody. It's a great point. 718. That's a great point. Where the hell is that? 718. Is that on Neptune? 718 area code. Oh, New York. Shout out. Let's go. Covers the boroughs of the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. There you go. Concrete jungles where dreams are made of. Shout out Alicia Keys. She was at the game when I went to preseason game 1 against the Lakers. I think it was her son's birthday. It was fun. Saying happy birthday to her son. But from the 718 there, talking about Moody and Kuminga, by the way, 3 fouls in the first quarter. That's a quick way to get benched. Although I liked what I saw from him. To his point, the skill set is unbelievable. The footwork in the paint, he was mixing guys up, going at Nurkic, going at Eubanks. I liked what I saw from the young guys yesterday. And that's important going forward because they're going to need to be key contributors if this team wants to win another title. Moody and Kuminga got to be key contributors come playoff time for this team. Because the old guys, the wear and tear will show at certain points of this season. And they're going to have to be carried by some of the younger dudes, like a Kuminga, like a Moody. That's going to have to, like Wiggins, who did not have a great game last night. In fact, he was a worst -22 plus-minus yesterday. Not good. 4-12, 0-3 from beyond the arc. That's not what I want to see from Andrew Wiggins. But here's Moses Moody talking after the game, talking about, things starting to slow down in year 3 for him.
It does, just being out there, a lot of the stuff you've seen before, so you know what to do in certain situations, and then being on a team with as many veteran guys that communicate and talk a lot, just pick up a lot. So, yeah, it's definitely been slowing down.
From the YouTube chat, you can search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe there, and see this nose. It's real, and it's spectacular. Hamza Raja, and Hamza, he likes my stuff on X, and you can follow me on X, at Spadoni_Joe. I appreciate it. I love the likes. I need them, man. Hey, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., I know the diehards out there that are liking my stuff. And they're usually on the East Coast, like Nicole Diaz. Good morning, Nicole. Shout out to MIA. But Hamza comes through in the clutch. Saric is a beast, just missed some bunnies. Wiggins has to go back to 2022 form. I can't stand this dude anymore. I'll say this with Wiggins. Last year, at the first half of the season, he was looking like the all-star he was. He was looking pretty damn good. Then the adductor strain, then obviously all the stuff that happened off the court, missed a few months, and he never really regained the form until the playoffs when he came back, and he actually looked pretty damn good. Let's not forget, Wiggins was looking pretty damn good, and he was looking like the second best player for the Dubs, maybe outside of Kevon Looney in that playoffs. Obviously, Steph was a man possessed in that Kings series. But Wiggins, he showed up and he showed out. And then he got hurt, obviously, tried to go at LeBron in Game 6, just wasn't happening. And his season and the Warriors season came to an end. But yes, Andrew Wiggins, huge X factor. All these guys, it's going to take a total team effort. And that sounds cliche, but they're really going to need every single one of these guys. Obviously, both the teams last night, Suns, Warriors, missing key contributors that they hope will bring them a championship. Obviously, with the Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal, you saw him on the sideline with that fancy shirt, getting after it. I'm all about, and then we used to have the suits and stuff like that if you were missing games. Now it's just free-for-all fashion, and I'm all about that. Draymond doing the in-game interview with TNT, obviously Stan Van Gundy and Ian Eagle. I love Ian Eagle on the calls. Ian Eagle, he's underrated when it comes to basketball and football. Guy's unreal. Very good at what he does. I've liked him ever since he was with Dan Fouts back in the day, early on. He was the number 3 or 4. Bona fide number 2 right now. I think he's technically number 2 on the... I think he is. Him and... who's my guy? I can't think of his name. Formerly of Fox, now on NFL Network. Name escapes me. I digress. Iron Eagle, very good. But last night, they were interviewing Draymond in the shades he had on, the blue suit, everything. It was just peak Draymond Green, having a good time. And the Warriors need him out there because the size difference was a problem. It was a big problem. Now, we go back to the YouTube chat, and Hamza mentioning Sarge missing bunnies. Nurkic, he was feasting down there. 5 of 8. He had 14 boards, 17 offensive boards to 18 of the Warriors, surprisingly. But, it's Kevon Looney. 5 offensive boards, just what he does. Led all players. Dario Saric with some offensive boards. But again, when he gets those back, he's got to make those. And that's not really a huge skill set of his. You think of Saric as more of an outside shooter guy. He's in that mold of, again, a Bielitsa from a few years ago. He's not going to be that inside presence. But when you have the opportunities, you got to get them. You just got to. 311 overall for Dario. 7 points, 7 boards, and obviously 4 of those being offensive. Here's more from after the game, Steve Kerr, and his overall thoughts on the Warriors' opening night loss.
I thought it was a little clunky offensively for much of the game. It was mainly the ball just wasn't going in. I thought in the first half we missed a lot of shots, and then we sort of let that affect our energy. Late in the second quarter, they went on that big run. But the guys really fought, competed. We got some good shots, some good possessions, did some good things, took care of the ball tonight. We stopped fouling in the second half, which helped us kind of regain the momentum there in the third quarter. But their offensive rebounds were killers. And I thought Okogie was the difference tonight. Just his offensive boards, his hustle plays. I thought he was really key for them.
Okogie was. His hustle plays. Listen, I sang all the praises of GP2. He's going to go out there and he's going to hustle. Moody, a lot of nice hustle plays. But Okogie was the same way. Every time it felt like the Warriors could have snatched a key defensive board, Okogie was there, snatches it away, second chance opportunities, and that's what you're going to have to limit going forward. You can have those second chance opportunities. In a game that close, that's the difference. And obviously 108, 104, you look up, the team didn't shoot all that well and still had a chance because of those second chance opportunities. Charles Davis, thank you, from the YouTube chat. Charles Davis on the NFL calls with Iron Eagle. Does a great job. Love Charles Davis too. Great with the draft. More from Kerr on, again, those problems on the offensive boards.
Well, there were a lot of long rebounds, and it felt like they were beating us to the ball, kind of at the elbows, and they got some length and some athleticism that definitely factored in. But like I said, Okogie had 4 of them, but it seemed like he had more. The way he was crashing, and sometimes he just took a body out, and then someone else got an offensive board. So that felt like the key, but kind of a typical first game in a lot of ways. Conditioning's not quite there. Rhythm isn't quite there. So we'll be a lot better. So will they, a few weeks from now. But just couldn't get it done tonight.
Just couldn't get it done tonight. And again, taking on the Kings on Friday. You don't want to get off to a slow start. I will say that. If there was one thing we all learned from last season with the Warriors, please don't get off to a slow start. They're 0-1. See if they can get back and even up the score on Friday. From Nicole Diaz on the YouTube chat, and you can find us on Twitch and YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. We're streaming all damn day long, 5 a.m. all the way through 7 p.m., Monday through Friday right here on 95.7 The Game. Nicole Diaz, guys, first game of the season. A lot of new faces, new roles to get used to. Take a deep breath. It is a long season. It is. I don't think everyone's overreacting, although the first guy I read, the first message I saw, time to bench Klay for Moses Moody. And Klay didn't have a good game. Yeah, he didn't have a good game. See overall, 6 of 18. He was chucking out there, 3 of 11 from beyond the arc. I see his plus-minus overall is +9, but I don't feel like that was a good Klay Thompson game. It was okay. It could have been a lot worse. He did make some shots there in the third quarter that helped it out a lot because it could have been like a 3 of 18 performance. It wasn't. At least a couple of 3 balls went in, but again, I started seeing some of the problems that I saw a lot from last season when it comes to Klay Thompson. A lot of pressing, a lot of bad shots that weren't falling. And when you take that many shots, second most on the team outside of Steph Curry last night, who was 8 of 20, it's the difference in a close game like that. When you look back at the type of shots you were taking. Like there was multiple times where they got the offensive board, Klay did, and then it was a mid-range jump shot, air ball, barely clanks, stuff like that. But I did see some nice things from Klay. I did see some times where he was setting up and trying to feed some of the bigs that he passed instead of gunning. I would like to see more of that from Klay. Now, there will be opportunities in games where he's going to have to chuck and try to keep chucking to keep the Warriors in it. When Steph's not going, when Wiggins isn't going, when CP3. And again, last night, those guys outside of Steph, who was 8 of 20, 4 of 14 from beyond the arc, not a lot were hitting. Chris Paul specifically. All of his shots were damn near consecutive in that third quarter when it was driving layup after driving layup and one after and one. And by the way, did you guys hear the CP3 chants? Oh my goodness. You were going nuts last night.
Kuminga, bounce pass to Payton. Payton sees trouble, spins out of it, finds Paul up top. Paul, right by Nurkic to the rim. He scored and got fouled. A third quarter clinic being put on by Chris Paul.
Tim Roy on the call there for us right here on 95.7 The Game. We love Tim. He's the best. At Warriors Vox on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it. You can find him. He was in his bag last night, as Tim usually is. Guy's going to be a future Hall of Famer. Should be already. Now, they let everyone into the Basketball Hall of Fame, which kind of, I'm not going to go on my rant. It's game day one. I'm not talking Hall of Fame, but God, it's just, the only sport that gets it right is football when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Just the right amount of inclusivity. Baseball, just too exclusive, dumb. I mean, when you don't have a guy like Roger Clemens or Barry Bonds, some of the greatest to ever do it in the Hall of Fame, I'm not going to take anything you say seriously. And with basketball, when you got every single coach, college that was good, it's just, college, it should be the NBA Hall of Fame. They made it the Basketball Hall of Fame, and that watered it down. All right, I digress. CP3, after the game, talking about hearing his name being chanted.
Yeah, it was. Dario looked at me and started laughing, and I couldn't help but laugh. That was a first.
That's it. He couldn't help but laugh. That was the first. I mean, Chris, I would have liked to say that was nice to hear or anything like that. But it's kind of weird, right? We don't want to force it. Chris isn't like, hey, listen, I didn't have a good game. He was 4-15 overall. You see the assists, you see that the shooting performance wasn't great. I expect that to be a little bit better. I'm not expecting 15 plus shots nightly for CP3. Again, he's probably not going to be starting. That was a wrinkle because Draymond Green obviously did not play last night. But it was kind of weird, right? Like starting out of Wake Forest, number 3, Chris Paul. It's like, oh my God. And I was listening prior to the game and prior to our coverage of the game with Tim Roy and co. and RC Davis, amongst others. Willard and Dibbs were talking about it, and Willard he's like, shout out to the Warriors PR for massaging this thing and, taking a guy and a villain like Chris Paul for all those years with the Clippers, with the Rockets, etc., bringing him here and just basically ingratiating himself to the entire Dub Nation to the point where he's getting chance in game 1. That's unbelievable. Shout out Warriors PR for doing that. I give them a tremendous amount of credit. And maybe it was just time heals all wounds. Like, it happened so damn long ago now, it feels like. Jordan Poole traded. That whole dark cloud, quote unquote, now removed from the organization. And now, Chris Paul, Golden State Warrior. From the Comcast Business text line, 650, Klay did a good job staying in front of KD last night, but his offense was atrocious. And it's funny looking at both those guys because obviously both of them had major injuries. And one thing that was the theme of last night, and I juxtaposed with what I saw with Denver versus the Lakers, and it's why I have the Denver Nuggets ahead of all these guys still and all these teams. The youth and athleticism from that team, and I'm not even talking about Jokic because the term, athleticism is not generally associated with Nikola Jokic. No, he's athletic. I'm not saying he's not. To be at that level, and by the way, have already the 4th most all-time triple-doubles or something ridiculous, or he's at least one off of LeBron. Outrageous. He's already one of the greatest players in the history of basketball. But outside of Jokic, it's, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, all these other guys. You got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Brown. I do the same thing Shasky does. Brown, second year out of Kansas now. But they have all these young guys that are just such key contributors. And you got Jokic being the floor general, being also the big. Guys, just unbelievable. And then you juxtapose that with what I saw last night. A lot of old guys. Not a lot of young guys. Again, Devin Booker, the youngest one out there with all the studs, all the stars. He was the one that showed out the most. He's the one that had gas in the tank late. And that's something they're going to build off, right? You got to get your legs under you. Preseason helps so much, but you got to get those legit game reps. I know they were playing some of these games in preseason like it mattered. Obviously, the Steph game winner against the Kings, stuff like that. But as the season goes on, the load management is going to be very interesting here. Now they got all the new rules of the league. You know, got to have certain stars, quote unquote, people that have been all-stars in the past. You know, they're going to have at least one of those guys suit up. You can't have the load management. We shall see how it affects teams like the Warriors, teams like the Suns, teams like the Lakers, Clippers, specifically in the West, how it affects guys like that. Because again, I go back to Denver. That's the one team that it feels like, I didn't even mention Jamal Murray. I don't know what the hell am I doing. I said Michael Porter. I said Aaron Gordon, all these other guys. Jamal Murray, he's going to be the difference for that team. If he plays like he did all in the playoffs last season, Nuggets are probably going to repeat. They're just that damn good. So that was my overarching theme from what I saw from the Suns, Warriors, Lakers. A lot of age, a lot of wear and tear, a lot of miles. And when I saw Klay guarding Durant and vice versa, I was like, man, the burst just isn't there with these guys anymore. God, getting old sucks. It does. Shout out being 30. I don't know, I'm talking to a lot of you who are like, 30? The hell are you talking about? And I feel it. Shout out 2 kids and a bunch of problems. We got to take a quick break. Come on back. More reaction, more from Chris Paul, more from Kevon Looney, and more from Stephen Curry. Yeah, let's hear from Mr. Unanimous MVP himself on the other side. Suns 108, Warriors 104 from opening night in the NBA. Golden State gets back in action on Friday against the Sacramento Kings. And again, we'll have all that coverage all season long right here on 95.7 The Game. Your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. Don't go anywhere, folks. It's the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours.
And we encourage local community organizations to refer qualified applicants to us. You can receive the Game and Odyssey job vacancy information by contacting Human Resources at 415-765-4011 or by emailing sfhr@odyssey.com.
Now, back to the pregame show on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Pre-game show with Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. We're all in the pursuit of happiness. Shout out Kid Cudi. On this hump day here in the Bay. If you're just waking up, just joining us, good morning to all of you. Just getting off work, getting ready for school, getting ready for a shift, getting ready to do what you got to do. October is fading. Before you know it, it'll be November. I'm already seeing the damn... I can't stand Christmas commercials in October. It bothers me. I'm going to be honest. It bothers me. I get it from the marketing aspect. You got to, it's the biggest sales season. Can we just enjoy the seasons again? And I'm acting like I'm like 60 years old. And I'm half that. It just bothers me. The disrespect that Thanksgiving gets when it comes to advertising and all that sort of stuff, it gets skipped right over. I mean, if you're going to do something, do some Thanksgiving stuff, all right? Although there was a funny trailer, if you guys were watching the game last night, there's this new scary movie called Thanksgiving. It was kind of funny. I don't know. A guy dressed as like a scary mask as a pilgrim. I was like, I can't take this seriously. This just looks hilarious. And maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know. But it just, again, I digress. Christmas commercials in October. I hate it. Can't wait for Halloween, though. Little guy was sick last year. He's 4 now. He was all decked out in his Darth Vader last year, ready to go, and he fortunately got the flu. Too bad. And this year, all good. All fingers crossed. Nothing happens. Less than a week now. But he's got his Leonardo Ninja Turtle outfit. He's all ready to go, his costume. So, going to be pretty cool. We got baby girl Michelangelo one. She's 1. So, Ninja Turtle family this year. I'm sure that'll be very popular. I'm sure Mario is going to be very popular. What are you guys all dressing up as this year for Halloween? 888-957-9570. Sure, I'll take that. Warriors 104, Suns 108. We're reacting from game 1 of the NBA season. Opening night, you had the Nuggets and Lakers prior to that. Nuggets taking care of business like they did all postseason and all season long last year. They looking like the defending champs. You had Jokic interviewing postgame with Shaq. It's just, he's funny. He's a funny guy. I like Jokic. As many people are now tired of it because he's a winner and now he's dominating the NBA and he's a finals MVP. He's like, I'm tired of that whole shtick and him not caring. I was like, that's just who he is. Guy's authentic. I appreciate authenticity here. 888-957-9570 from the Comcast Business Text line, 209. I personally saw a lot of good all around with the Warriors last night. Took care of ball, passed good, took open shots, didn't force shots, and liked Moody. That's from Dylan in the 209. Thank you. Appreciate you, Dylan. Always chiming in daily here. Moody was a key factor last night. I agree. And here's Moses after the game, again, talking about, things starting to slow down in year 3. And I thought this was maybe the best post-game actuality highlight, as we call it here in the biz.
It does, just being out there, a lot of the stuff you've seen before, so you know what to do in certain situations, and then being on a team with as many veteran guys that communicate and talk a lot, just pick up a lot. So, yeah, it's definitely been slowing down.
And Moses, what was it like playing with that guy CP3?
It's all rhythm. He's a rhythm player, so he's really good at, getting you the ball in spots you want it, making plays as well as scoring himself, and just things go good when he's on the floor.
Things go good when he's on the floor, that being Chris Paul. The shooting was not so good with CP3 last night, but I thought the overall ball distribution, when his shot wasn't falling late in the third there, he's like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to drive to the rack, get some and ones on Nurkic. He did that, get these guys in foul trouble, get the bonus. That's something that's going to be a positive for this Warriors team going forward? Chris Paul getting the other team in foul trouble. You've had to be on the opposing side of that for quite some time, Warriors fans. It's going to be nice for a change to have a savvy veteran like CP3, a guy that can bait a lot of these players because he's been in the league so long, and obviously, switch that in favor of you and your fouls going forward. CP3 after the game talking about on if his game is going to have to change with the Warriors.
I don't know. I'm just excited about it, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of good things we did tonight, a lot of not so great things, but the freedom, the pull-up threes, that I got a chance to shoot tonight. I don't know. I mean, when you're playing with, guys that shoot it as good as, Steph and Klay consistently, I think the more games you just get more and more comfortable of, being aggressive, finding that balance.
Finding that balance is going to be key. That's always the key with every single team, no matter what sport. Balance, balance, balance. Offensively, defensively, playmaking-wise. When the shot's not there, who can you feed the hot hand to? And Double Marge with a good point here on the YouTube chat. Couple points when the communication wasn't there, which caused the turnovers. And that's going to be another thing with this team, with a lot of different pieces now, a huge new piece in Chris Paul, a departing piece in Jordan Poole. And there's a lot of changes that come with that. Older player, I can't think of more polar opposites when it comes to Jordan Poole and Chris Paul as players, and that's going to take time. The amount of minutes that Jordan Poole played last year, I don't know if, and he played every single game, and I know Chris Paul is not going to touch that, but it's going to be different. And the communication's not going to be in sync this early on. The key will be, towards the end of the year, is that communication still lacking. Because if it's still a problem after, 82 games, yeah, I don't think they're going to be winning a chip. It's game one. Take a step back. I liked what I saw from Chris Paul outside of the shooting last night. What say you? Your positives and negatives from the Warriors' opening night defeat at the hands of Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns, 108-104. They have a nice tribute video to KD right at the start. And here's KD after the game, again, talking about that tribute video and coming back to play these guys in a team that he won 2 titles with.
A lot of good moments in the video. We was able to relive some of those memories real quick. But it was good to come in here and get the season started off right with a W.
Go Suge Knight, all in the videos. Here's Steph Curry. You haven't heard from this guy. What are we doing here? Hey, Steph, your thoughts on the Game 1 loss?
There's a lot of spotlight on the first game and how you come out and setting the tone for the season. I think our energy was great. We had really good possessions throughout the whole game, had some rush possessions, some quick, tough shots. That borderline of how we play, kind of with the organized chaos, but, left a couple possessions out there. Our third quarter obviously was amazing, getting us back into it. There's going to be a lot of talk on, the extremes of one game, and you got to obviously learn from what went wrong tonight in terms of offensive rebounds. My fouling, a couple of them I didn't like, but, taking out your rhythm and the rotations that you want to have set for the game, and then you get beat by 2 tough threes down the stretch by Okogie and E. Gordon. So, you're kind of going to live with that type of stuff. And if you look at that, if they go a certain way, the question's a little different. So you don't overanalyze the offense. Just try to continue to get better. Understand we're in a really good place, but we can get better.
They can get better. That's every team after opening night, win, loss, whatever. They're going to need to get better, and they will. Positives and negatives from last night's game with the Warriors. I want to hear from you, 888-957-9570. The phone lines are open. Give us a call. Give us a text on the Comcast Business text line. Suns 108, Warriors 104. We're going to wrap up the pregame show on the other side right here, 95.7 The Game.
Here's a message for Bay Area architects and designers. If you're about to start a remodel or design project with one of your clients, be sure to visit Golden State Window and Door Design. They work with a number of manufacturers, including Marvin for windows, that offer outstanding quality and a large selection of colors and styles. Take a look at the Golden State's window and door design showrooms virtually at goldenstatelumber.com. For 3 generations, Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
Boom, 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 boom.
Nissan.
95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. Suns 108, Warriors 104. Been breaking it down. Opening night in the NBA. Lakers falling to the defending champion Denver Nuggets, who, as is tradition, kick off the NBA season. The defending champs. Saw Shaq, Ernie, Kenny, and Charles out there in Denver, Colorado last night. He had a little mini heater on Shaq. It's so funny because he's just so massive. The mini heater for Shaq is like, like a micro machine almost. It's just so damn tiny in comparison. Like for us, it's actually like legit. Oh, it's a mini heater. For him, it's not. It's like the size of his shoe. Double Marge, Spadoni, are you pulling double duty, host and producer? For my show, a little inside radio here in Dublin Marge, hit me up on the YouTube chat. And we are streaming live on Twitch and YouTube, 5 a.m. through 7 p.m. all day, Monday through Friday, right here on 95.7 The Game. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe there. But yes, I am my own producer. I do have Sam helping out a little bit, Sam Lubman, who is the producer for the morning roast. But when it comes to all the content on here, when it comes to getting all the sound, doing all that sort of stuff, it's all me. I bring myself in and out of break. Sam graciously at times brings me back from the YouTube and helps me set that up. But outside of that, yeah, it's solo dolo here for 5 to 6, and I like it that way. More intimate, I think. One versus the thousands and billions and millions of all you tuning into the pregame show. So, yeah, solo dolo here. And appreciate you chiming in, Double Margin. Very nice to meet you at the Warriors preseason summit at Fieldwork Brewing Co. in San Leandro. Was that last week already? My days are and weeks are all mixed up. That was fun. Very, very fun. And I appreciate you chiming in at this hour of the day, and all of you chiming in at this hour of the day for just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school. We got the morning roast coming up here in about 10 minutes or so. Bonte Hill, Joe Shasky, they're going to be fired up about this game. Lots of interesting layers. CP3 getting chants. They're chanting CP3 at Chase Center in an unironic way. That's pretty wild. I mean, if I would have told you that this time last year, coming off a championship, hey, you know what? Opening night next year, you got Chris Paul in your starting lineup, and they're chanting his name, you would have thought I was on crack. Come on. Where's my drops? Come on. Where are we at? Where's my drops? It's all right. Hashtag new studio. It's all good. We'll figure it out. But, we moved studios, so all my old drops, and I've been here for like 4 or 5 years. The amount of drops I cut from Steiny and Guru alone, the most of you guys have heard, a lot of them didn't make it. I'm going to be honest, a lot of them did not make it over. We've had to, tediously bring some of them back, and, most of them, they're gone. Found some of them here. I just want to play a Steiny one. Does this one work? No, that doesn't work. Oh, that's too bad. Anyways, I digress here. 888-957-9570. 650 on the Comcast Business text line. Eric Gordon's been a Warrior killer since he was on the Clippers. Had a pretty terrible first, 3/4 of the game. Then he turns it on right at the end of the game to put the game away. Eric Gordon's always been, that sneaky guy in that Rocket series in years past, specifically to your point. But he's got my overarching theme. We were talking about off air, what the boys are going to talk about. Shasky, Lubman, Bonte coming up here, morning roast in about 9 minutes. Just the age, the overall ages of these guys. And it's no coincidence that Devin Booker, he looked the spryest, he looked the fastest, he looked the quickest, and was the best player on the floor last night. He's also the youngest guy. I'm talking superstars. I don't know how old Yuta Watanabe is, although I like his stroke. It was good. It's crisp, clean. I know a lot of Warriors fans were talking about Watanabe when we were doing the free agency show when I filled in for Shasky on the morning roast a few months back. But he looked good. And my overarching theme, if I'm just the two games that we saw last night, Nuggets, they're still a tier above everyone, at least in the Western Conference. And hell, maybe in all of basketball. The Denver Nuggets, and then you got, if you want to do a 4 spot there, Suns, Warriors, Clippers, Lakers. You want to tie them out. If you want to put the Suns a little bit, I mean, they're all looking up to Denver. And why is that? Denver's got youth, they got size, and they got athleticism. Jamal Murray's a problem. Nikola Jokic, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's already a Hall of Famer. If he ended today, if he retired, which I feel like he could do that and no one would be surprised. Like after this season, if Nikola Jokic is like, yeah, I'm done. Would any of us be shocked? That's just kind of the guy and player he is. Or it's just like, oh yeah, he's going to go hang out with his horses. That's just Joker. He's only 28. Why did I think he was like 31 or 2? Ugh. He'll be 29 next February. Ugh. This guy. And the scary part is when it comes to the Joker, his game's just not predicated on explosiveness. Like his game is going to age beautifully. The strength is always going to be there. The size, he's not getting any smaller. He's going to go down. When it's all said and done, if he gets another ring, he could be top 10 all time. It's unbelievable. He's that dude. I need to check out the triple-double list. I don't know if he's catching whoever's number one. Who is it? The Russ. All-time triple-double leaders. Here we go. Basketball Reference. Yeah, Russ at 198. Then you got Jokic at 106. He's 28. He might push that. He might. I need to check out all the, advanced metrics there, but unbelievable that he's already won off LeBron James, Jason Kidd. He's going to be 4th all-time here, probably in a few games. Hell, maybe by the weekend's end. Then you got Magic at number 3 overall with 138, Oscar Robertson 181, and then Russ obviously still playing with the Los Angeles Clippers. I think he's going to be a starter again, by the way. Oof. Again, age, youth, not in the Clippers' favor, not in the Lakers' favor, not in the Warriors' favor, or the Suns. Now, they got some young players. I'm not saying that. Just comparing it to a team like the Nuggets. Going to be tough to beat. But you know what? It's one game. No overreacting here. I'm not allowing it. I'm not allowing the overreactions. We can do that with football because there's 17 damn games and it's not an overreaction when it comes to football. Basketball, got 81 games left. All right? So can we stop with the benching Klay after one game? Wasn't pretty. And I know what I liked from Moses Moody last night. I'm not starting Moses that soon into a season. Now, if things continue down this path for Klay Thompson, and we all know it didn't end well in the postseason last year with him, and the chucking's happening, and the defense just isn't what it used to be, then maybe a conversation does need to be had. But after one game, I'm not going down that path. Here's Stephen Curry, though, after the game, talking about his budding chemistry with Chris Paul, who again got chanted CP3 last night at Chase Center.
They'll just continue to get more comfortable on who's initiating, where shots are going to fall or come from, sets that we can run, depending on who has the ball. It's very fluid right now. It's such a smooth transition because we both just know how to play, and there's a lot of trust. Whoever has the ball is going to try to make the right decisions. And, we're one game, a couple of preseason games under our belt, feeling like there's been a lot of confidence that's been building in terms of what we're trying to do. So we're going to obviously continue to get better. It's 81 more. And when Draymond gets back, there's going to be even more to try to figure out in terms of the rotations and all that. And we communicate really well. We talk basketball and try to figure it out. And that's going to get us in the right position.
Speaking of communicating very well, which is what I try to do here on the pregame show to all of you, I sometimes succeed, most of the time fail, but I appreciate you guys joining me every Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. nonetheless. The communication between him and Steph, I didn't expect this relationship to build this quickly, but when you got two, superstars and two of the greatest point guards in the history of the game, and what we know about point guards, if you're a great point guard, communication is key. Being a floor general is key. So it shouldn't come to surprise of anyone that these two hit it off pretty damn quick. Now, most of the, pause, if you will, from the fan base and most of the apprehension, if you will, was because of the attitude, right? Chris Paul's had an attitude. These guys have been rivals for so long. And at this stage in his career, can they coexist? Well, I think when you start realizing the finality of all of this, when it comes to your place in the league, and Chris Paul's getting up there, I don't know how many years he's got left in this league, that stuff kind of becomes irrelevant. It's just like, you know what? I'm trying to win a chip. Everything else prior to this doesn't matter. I see the clock ticking. Father Time is undefeated. Yes, he even defeated Tom Brady. Although his arm still was pretty good. It was just not a good last season for Tom, even though they still won the division. Not a good last game against the Dallas Cowboys. I digress. Tom Brady, by the way, another championship for him, being the WNBA Las Vegas Aces owner and maybe part owner of the Raiders going forward, although that deal looks like it's stalled. Real quick, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this at 5:58 a.m. when we got a minute 30 left. Bob Melvin. Welcome back to the Bay. Bob Melvin, former manager of the Oakland Athletics, most recently the San Diego Padres, Diamondbacks, Mariners. Bob Melvin is going to be donning the orange and black, and he is your San Francisco Giants manager for this upcoming season. All right. Bo Mel back in the Bay. Local guy, Cal. How are we feeling about that? That's how I feel about it. I don't know how to feel. He came into the Padres trying to turn everything around. They get to the NLCS, gets swept against the Phillies, obviously. Had a down year this year. And you would think that, a guy like that who handled all those egos can easily come into a team like this that doesn't have nearly the amount of star power that one has. He had all that success with the Oakland Athletics, quote unquote, he did a lot with not a lot. A lot with a little, I should say. When I think of Bob Melvin, whether this is fair or not, think of the guy who came up short quite a few times with the Oakland Athletics. Is that going to happen with the Giants? We shall see. But I think they're going to announce that whole presser. They're going to have the introductory press conference 10:30 today, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have some of that sound for you tomorrow on the pregame show. In the meantime, we got the morning roast coming up next. Suns 104, Warriors. Check that. Suns 108, Warriors 104. Kevin Durant returns. Chris Paul gets his name chanted at Chase Center. What is going on there? But the Warriors start off this season with a loss. Hopefully not a sign of things to come. One game. Let's not overreact. Morning roast up next. Joe Shasky, Ponte Hill, 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD.